Hey guys, Brian Park, CEO and co-founder of GenePro Protein. I wanted to come on here and just talk real briefly about an interesting conversation we had on social media the other day. I had a gentleman come in responding to a Facebook ad that we ran, basically saying that 1 gram of protein doesn't equal 1 gram of protein unless you're using GenePro. And this young man made a comment about how we don't know what we're talking about and that we should hire someone maybe with a PhD in nutritional science. Yada, yada, yada. It was a pretty big back and forth, and I realized we really weren't getting anywhere. I wanted to come on here to try to explain a little bit about what we mean by 1 gram doesn't necessarily equal 1 gram. We haven't changed science in the terms of weight, but we have changed the science in the terms of how protein is utilized.
Is that right?
So most people, up until this point in time, have used PDCAAs as a range of how well protein is digested. So for example, whey isolate is the highest digestibility protein on the market, and that's at 90%, which gives them a score of 1.0 PDCAA. That is the highest score you can get. What this means is the ability of your body to go ahead and actually consume it, digest it, and pass it. But it does not have anything to do with how it's used, the bioavailability in the system.
I'm sorry, what?
So this is where that confusion comes in with the bro science versus real science. We do have a PhD that works for us. That would be me, thank you. So I will go into a little bit of the science behind it. PDCAA scores were really meant for nutritionists and dietitians to figure out which protein products would less impact the gastric distress of their clientele. What people just don't realize when they're looking at the back of a nutrition panel on a supplement, even though that it is a 1.0 PDCAA or fully digestible, the whey protein isolate is only bioavailable at 30%. That's right. So you've got 70% of it going to waste. That means for every dollar you spend on whey supplements, 70 cents of it is going down the toilet, literally, unless it's GenePro Protein. Through our plasma treatment process, we are able to reduce the size of the molecular protein to 1/3 of the normal regular size. So for example, we'll just use a softball as a reference. If a regular protein molecule is the size of a softball, once we put it through our plasma treatment process, it comes out the other end the size of a golf ball. We can't put 30 softballs into a shoebox, but we certainly can fit 30 golf balls into that same shoebox. It's the same premise here. The scoop that you get in GenePro weighs 11 grams. But because of the bioavailability and the small molecular structure of the protein, you are actually getting the equivalence of 30 grams of protein in the body. This is not me just saying that. We have over 50 clinical research papers and published papers that back that science. There's also over 24 research papers and clinical studies that back the bioavailability references that we make. In essence, your body is made up of screens or mesh that is in your digestive system. Think of it as a screen in your window. The smaller the screen is, the harder it is for food to pass. The larger the food is, the harder it is to pass through that small mesh. What we do, reducing the molecular size, allows that protein to go through the mesh and be fully utilized by the body. So in a nutshell, that's bro science smashed, real science won. I am very heavily involved in what our social media looks like. I look at some of the comments and reports. I try to respond, but sometimes it's better to put it in a video like this and hopefully share it, and you guys can share it as well. Thanks.